Storytelling. Humans first, compassion first, empathy first. Part 2. This narrative is generated by AI mode from the original text of philosopher Prince Israel Zaar's writing. Written on November 5, 2025, I now read, in the quiet town of Harmony, a politician named Mayor Evelyn Reed rose to power on a tide of promises. Promises of progress, of unity, and most importantly, of care for all her constituents. The people, seeing her passion and hearing her resonant words about duty and service, elected her with hope in their hearts. They believed she embodied the principles she preached, that leadership was a sacred trust, a commitment to the least amongst them. Once in office, the mayor's priorities began to shift. The soup kitchen, run tirelessly by Ms. Alara Vance, a woman whose life was dedicated to feeding the hungry, found its funding repeatedly slashed. Economic realities, the mayor's office would explain with cold detachment, pointing to grander projects, a new community center that mostly served the already well-off tax cuts for large corporations. The town, once vibrant with hope, began to show cracks of despair. Ms. Vance watched as the line for a hot meal grew longer, the faces in that line becoming younger, older, more desperate. She thought of the mayor's campaign speeches, the mention of God and duty, and felt a profound sense of hollowness. "Hollow," she murmured to her volunteers, "are those who talk about God out of convenience or political expediency." One crisp autumn day, the national news highlighted Mayor Reed's impassioned speech at a conference where she vehemently argued for intervention in a distant conflict, citing the need to protect vulnerable rights abroad. The irony was a bitter pill for the people of Harmony. They saw a leader willing to fight a war far away, yet dragging her feet to feed the vulnerable at home. It was then that a local artist, a young man named Leo, who often volunteered at the soup kitchen, began a quiet protest. He painted a mural on the side of the soup kitchen wall. It depicted a table half filled with food and a leader sitting with her back to the empty half, looking toward a distant horizon. Below the painting, in simple, bold letters, were the words, "Serve the people, all of them. It's a call to duty to serve, not to select and serve." The mural became a focal point. People gathered around it, sharing stories, finding unity in their disillusionment. The sentiment, echoing the words of a local philosopher, Prince Israel Zaar, was clear. If a leader cannot care for those who cannot care for themselves, then what good are they in office? The pressure mounted. The local newspaper ran a front-page story featuring the mural and Ms. Vance's plea, "The goodwill of politicians is lost once they turn their backs on the least amongst us. Being unwilling or dragging your feet to feed Americans is as un-American, unconstitutional, and unpatriotic as it can get." Eventually, faced with a community united in its conviction, Mayor Reed had to confront the reality she had created, the narrative the people had woven, a narrative of neglect, of broken promises, of a disconnect from the basic human need for sustenance, forced her to change course. The funding was restored to the soup kitchen, and a new initiative for the houseless was launched. It wasn't an immediate fix, but it was a start. The people of Harmony had reminded their leader of the fundamental truth. Leadership is not about power or selection, but a solemn, unshakable duty to serve every single person, without exception. Attribution. This narrative, generative of AI, is from the original text attributed to AI philosopher Prince Israel Zaar, November 5th, 2025.